Hey, everybody. It is Wednesday night refuel, and we're going to have a great time. And I'm glad to be here hanging out with you. I'm going to get on here and see if we're all working all right here. So bear with me just for a second. Oh, yeah, audio's working. Amanda, Kelly, Paul, already got a few watching. Awesome. So glad everybody's here. I'm going to go ahead and share this over to my page. I think that's how you do it. Yep. There it goes. So let me get off that, shut it down. All right. Now we're ready. It's Wednesday night refuel time, guys. And I am so glad that everybody is here. Going to have an amazing, amazing time. So, as we always do, as we get started with refuel, I'm always wanting to remind everybody what this is all about. What does refuel do? Why do we do this? And the bottom line is we stumbled on this years ago when we were mobile as a church, and we didn't have a space. So we didn't get to have Wednesday night services. And this is what we started doing to accommodate that. And even now that we've got our campuses, we have services going on there right now, but we gather like this with all of you that can't be there. So we decided to stick with it. That is refuel. And the purpose, hey, Austin, the purpose of refuel is extremely simple. And it's just this. Actually having trouble seeing all of your comments right now, so I'm going to have to go see it myself here. But it's about encouragement. Bottom line, it's about encouragement. And I don't know about you, but I find myself sometimes in the middle of the week just going, man, I just need a little something, just a little pick me up. And that's where we come up with Wednesday night refuel. And the idea is simply to encourage each other. Bottom line, just to encourage everybody right where they are in the middle of everything. So that's what we're going to be doing tonight. And I'm going to be trying to watch with a little help here so that I can actually see. My comments are a little goofy, but that's all right. We'll be just fine. So anyway, once again, thank you for being here, everybody. Grab some coffee. If you're like me, some water, and grab your Bible if you want to. We're just going to chat for a little bit. And I'm just going to share what's on my heart. And you can count on it, Paul. We're going to do it. Hey, Lisa, glad to have you. So let's go over our preliminaries real quick, and we'll jump right in. Number one, on refuel, it's really important that you get involved in the conversation. So incredibly important that you jump in, just like Paul did here. All of that is so, so wonderful and so helpful. Right here, Beverly's jumping right in. Oh, man, here we go. Anthony, good to see you, buddy. Jump in the conversation. So absolutely important. And the beauty is right down here is the comments. You can jump right in. And it's really important. Let me tell you why. Because what if something that you share, something that you say that's on your heart, touches somebody else in a way that nothing I've said might? You can inspire that in somebody. So take advantage of that. So get involved in the conversation. The other thing is right down here is our Amen Corner. That's the likes, the loves, all those things. Hey, Rodney, good to see you, buddy. But all that stuff's right down there. Helps us to know that you're tracking with us. Perfect. There you go, guys. Thank you so much. That helps me know that we're tracking together. And then the last thing that I'll share with you before we jump in is this. Your sharing of this may seem very minor to you, but it's not. It's not. So if you could, all I would ask is if you like this, if you're enjoying this, if you're a regular, go ahead and share it. Go ahead and hit that share button. It's already on your screen. You can do that. On YouTube, you can do that as well. And it helps so much. And all of you that are watching on YouTube, or if you're on Facebook and you have YouTube, you don't have to do it right now, but go over to the page, to the YouTube page, and follow it. Don't just hit like, but follow it. And that way you're alerted every time we go live on either platform. So some cool stuff there. And I'm just honestly, I'm just glad everybody's here. So we're going to have a great time. So let me just ask you real quick. How has everybody's week been? How's it been so far? It's Wednesday. We're halfway through. Well, I'll tell you, we had such a wonderful Thanksgiving. I've got to work on some stuff over the next couple of weeks. That's how my week's been. Has been trying to figure out how I'm going to get that back off that I worked so hard for and put on so easily. It's funny how quickly it comes back, isn't it? Oh, so it's hectic, Gary. Oh, Diane. Yes, I bet, Diane. I know that you're thinking it's a great week having Elvis back home. I love that. Kelly says, just dandy. I would expect nothing less from you, Kelly. Oh, Gary, here we go. Hectic week. I could feel that, man. I totally feel it. Let's see. Beverly says, busy. Yeah. And Lisa, long emotional week. Yeah, I know. A loss in the family. Lisa, we're still praying for you and your husband and your family in the loss of your son. That is a hard thing to take care of and to resolve in your heart. So we're all praying for y'all. So all of you that are watching, let's remember Lisa and her family. Just last week, they put him to rest, and just a difficult thing. So a lot of things like that. Let's see. Patricia, Sam, very busy, very busy. And I always love this one. Rodney, I would expect nothing less from you. Great. It's great. I absolutely love that. And then right down here, an old friend of mine, Ray and his wife, Mary. Yeah, very emotional week, but thankful. Love you. Love you too, buddy. Love you too. Ray's mom, who is a dear, dear friend of ours, passed away just in the last little bit. And we laid her to rest last week, and I was honored to be able to be a part of that. So thank you, Ray, for allowing me. Always family, right? Always. So, but very emotional. These are the things that we all deal with, you know? And I think in weeks, in the time that we have, we just find ourselves struggling sometimes. And so tonight I was just thinking through some things, and I was thinking about a story, and most of you will remember the story. It's not too hard to kind of really remember if you've been in church long, but there's a story in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 1. And I believe the parts that I would look at would probably be around verses 6, maybe verse 8, somewhere in there. It's okay. It's Refuel. So you aren't looking for me to be specific. We just want to talk about it. But I love where God is speaking to his people. He's speaking to Joshua, and they're at this mountain, and they've been there for a long time, right? They've just been kind of stuck there. And God speaks to his people. He speaks to them and says this: you've been here long enough. You've stayed long enough at this mountain. It's time to go. And there's a couple words that I love where it says this. It says, break camp and advance. Break camp and advance. So now let's take a couple of things here just really quickly, and let's just simply break it down for us every day. You know, like I said, it's not deep theological stuff, just practical. Is this? It starts with a question. How many of you have been struggling around the same mountain for a long time? I'll wait for you. Yep. That's exactly right. I think at times in our lives, we all find ourselves in different seasons. And in those seasons, there's always a mountain, and there's always that temptation to just camp out there, you know, just to stay there. And it's not always a bad thing. Sometimes it's a place of rest, of catching your breath. You know, that's what those of you that have lost family members or went through traumatic things in your life and in moments that, you know, you need to catch your breath. That's okay. That's okay. You know, like the challenge that you're fighting, you know, and your wife, such a valiant warrior, Ray, in fighting her battle as well. But, you know, when you look at those things, there are sometimes you just need the rest. That's okay. But there comes a place where sometimes we begin to choose to stay too long. We choose to stay too long. And let me phrase it like this. I know we think of these, and sometimes we think of these battles as giants and things like that, but I want to rephrase this because I want it to speak to each of you, okay? Because all of us have battles, and these mountains can be different things. And sometimes we find ourselves camping out way too long in our anger, and we get stuck, and anger becomes part of who we are. And then we wait so long, we've been camped out around the mountain that we're so connected to our anger that we never break camp and advance into the promise, right? Does that make sense? Because I just want to make sure that you grab this, because it's so important that every one of us understand what this means. So God is speaking to his people through Joshua, says, I want you to stop being around the mountain. It's time. You've stayed too long. You've stayed long enough at this mountain. So break camp and advance. I like this because when we get stuck, when we're kind of moving in these cycles of life, and we live in a culture that's always trying to, what's the right word? Trying to make us so passive in everything, in that respect, it's trying to say, no, don't do this. Don't do this. Just lay back. It's going to be good. Let the government take care of you. They're going to do this. Listen, to have the life that God created for you, you can't stay camped around one single mountain your entire trip, your entire journey. There comes places and times when you have to make a conscious decision to say, I'm breaking camp and I'm advancing. All right. I'm letting go of my anger. I'm letting go of my distrust. I'm letting go of my grief. I'm all these things. And yes, those are part of the experiences that make us who we are. But there does come a place and a time where God's saying it's time to break camp and advance. So I find that interesting because, breaking camp is a process. I mean, I don't know if you've ever camped out. I'm not really a great outdoorsman. Me and my wife have camped out a few times and they didn't turn out very well. But, I've camped out and, you just don't pick up and leave. You just don't say, hey, let's go. And you got to break camp. In other words, you got to pack up all the things you need. You got to pack up and clean the area, get your tent, get your stuff, all that stuff packed up, cleaned up, and getting ready to move camp. So breaking camp is that place in your life where you're making a conscious decision and doing what you need to do to prepare yourself to advance. See, I think that's part of the problem, is a lot of times we don't prepare ourselves to advance. We don't want to stay at the mountain any longer. We're totally cool with moving forward. But the problem really comes down to the place where we put it off. We put it off because I'll be honest, I have never liked breaking camp. It's like even after I do Refuel, I've got a few odds and ends that gets moved around and I have to put everything back in place. And I'll be honest, that's not the fun. It's not the fun stuff. What we're doing now, that's fun. But the truth is that things are difficult. You have to do sometimes the things that you don't want to do. You have to confront things. Now, let me bring this full circle. Because when I say break camp, I really do believe that a lot of the things in our lives that we have to break aren't about other people. It's not always about breaking a relationship. It's not always about leaving this behind because I can't be better. Sometimes it is. But what I want to do is encourage you. Hey, Eric, good to see you, buddy. I think this is one of those things that we have to realize that there are times that we have to come to the place that we say, I need to start by looking at me. I need to start by saying, okay, God, what in my life do I need to clean up? Do I need to pack away and get ready to move forward? Because let me just be straight honest, is emotions, struggles, the tensions, the anxiety, the scars, all the things of life that we all experience, they don't just go away so easily, do they? Maybe that's just me. But I'll be honest, there are wounds in my life and, well, let's just say betrayals in my life. There are things that I didn't understand when I've been hurt by people or hurt by situations or losses in my life, investments that turned south, all the different, whatever it is. And the truth is that it's so easy to say, let's just move forward. Let's just advance. But that's why I like the scripture so much in this story in Deuteronomy, because it's saying, it didn't just say you stayed long enough around this mountain, now go, right? He says, break camp and advance. So the first step is to break camp, is to look at ourselves and say, you know what? This is me. And at the end of the day, when I stand before God, nobody else is going to be standing with me. It's going to be me. And if I don't deal with these demons in my life, if I don't deal with the things in my life that I know are dragging me down, what happens is now it begins when we don't deal with it and we stay at that mountain. Do you know what happens? The anger, the anxiety, the feelings that we have that we've not dealt with begins to bleed to the people around us. And the one thing that I know about most people is they do not want their loved ones to have to feel the same crap and the same hurt and the same anger that we feel. Not normally. No, we want everybody to be free. We don't want that. And it's like, so as what we do sometimes, we think, well, I'm being brave, I'm being big, I'm just going to bury it inside. No, it won't work that way, because what's in you will come out of you. So this is a beautiful thing to say, is this, break camp and advance. Now, let me say this about breaking camp. Don't plan to break camp, break camp. Does that make sense? No, it's like, don't start planning. Okay, well, you know what? In 2 weeks and 3 days, I'm going to start breaking camp. In 2 weeks and 3 days, I'm going to start preparing myself to make this move. Let me ask you a question. Why not today? Why not just start right now? Why not start preparing in this moment? And here's why. Because there was something I learned a long time ago that I think is so important, but yet even I struggle with routinely. Today matters. Today matters. And I think it's so important to understand that this, excuse me, got choked. It's not COVID. Now, so listen to me. Today matters. And the success of what you're going to do in the promise, the success that you're going to have tomorrow or the next day or the next week or in the next season of your life is dependent on what you do today. And that's the truth. So let me ask you a question for you to comment down in the section with me, is this. Would you do me a favor? Would you list one thing that you know that you need to do to prepare to break camp for your advancement in your situation, whatever that looks like? And nobody's going to know everything that you're talking about, but what does that look like? Give me one thing that you know you need to do to start the preparation, to start breaking camp in your life. Yeah, I know that. Here we go. I told you I was having trouble with them. Maybe I shouldn't have done that because I can't, I'm not seeing all my stuff. Yeah. Okay, there we go. For me, I'll say this. You know what I do is I get weary. And I get weary because of hard conversations that come with the territory of what I do. And I emotionally get tired. So I know for me to part of that preparation in my life is real simple, is breathe. Step back and breathe and know God's in control. All right. See, that's me. That's one of the things I always battle with, because I'm always trying to just get it over the finish line, get it over the finish line. In other words, I'm like, okay, I've been around this mountain long enough. Let's just advance, right? So the challenge for me is stepping into that. See, Beverly, now they're coming in. Beverly says, let go of worrying. That's good. Let go of worrying. Boy, that's a tough one, isn't it, Beverly? Because worrying, wow, is one of those emotions in God. And the Lord, the Bible teaches us, don't do that. Wow. Wouldn't it be great if we didn't? But that's exactly, you got to let go of that. So that's great. What does Diane say here? Diane says, I've decided that I need to start making the most of each moment instead of letting them escape me. That's incredibly poetic and beautiful. It certainly is. And I couldn't have stated that better, Diane. We need to start making the most of each moment. I love that. And, I think about that in mine and Tawana's life. It's like there's no more important relationship outside of my relationship with Christ than my relationship with my wife. And as life goes, you get so busy that we don't spend the time that we should sometimes with each other. Does anybody know where I'm going with this? And you find yourself kind of struggling. It's the same concept. If what you don't prepare for today, you can't enjoy tomorrow. Does that make sense? So important. And I think we have to really kind of own that and say, no, I need to make time for what's important in my life. All right. So then Heidi says to enjoy today and stop looking at the past and worrying about the future. Yep. That's good, Heidi. Good stuff. Let's see. Eric, let's see what Eric's saying. Forgive myself for the things I also need to stop picking up, the things I leave at the cross. That's great. These are great answers, you guys. Lisa, don't take the little things for granted. Man, ain't that the truth? And how often do we do that? We humans are experts at that sometimes. Let's see. What else do we have? And Greg, that's a very honest one. It's hard to not depend on myself. Ooh, boy, I feel that one. It's so true. And it's just a problem motivated people have, so man, I like this one. I'm actually building a series around this one, Rodney. Is this: stay positive. Don't let no one steal your joy. Stay positive. Your joy is the strength that God gives you. We derive so much strength from that. So we have to hang on to it. So don't let anybody take your joy. I absolutely love it. Those are great, guys. I mean, we could have just sat and talked about those all night. But the bottom line is these things that we need to do. Why do we wait? I'm serious. Why? Just think about it. Why do we wait? Why do we put it off? Why do we put off breaking camp? Why do we put off stepping into the healing that it brings? See, because here's what I've learned. Until I give my junk to Jesus, until I give my hurts and my pain and all the frustrations and all those things, I'm not going to find healing. And the truth is, the healing that he wants to give me is not somewhere out there. It's right here between me and the Father, between me and Jesus, right? That's where that's at. And we get so consumed with, well, if I just get this person in my life, or I get this organization in my life, and I get this one out and this one out, and do something new, if I can just be somewhere new. Sometimes that is what needs to happen. But the truth is we never find that intentional healing inside of us, because our first response, our first effort was to look outside of ourselves to the cause. When the truth of the matter is, most of the time, the cause that we're stuck around the mountain and we're just kind of gotten lazy there is because of what's in us. And we're not finding the healing, right? Man. So this is where I love it. You stayed long enough around the mountain, break camp. In other words, get to it. Get to it. Make the decision to break camp so that you can move forward. And I love at the end of that passage, how does it say it? You'll have to forgive me if I don't get it right. I don't have it in front of me. Where it says, I've given you this promise. They're talking about the promised land, right? I've given you this promise. I've already given you that. And now I'm just telling you to go in and take possession of it. So I guess for us, when I'm looking at this, what is the importance of today? Today is so important because you don't get it again. The time that you lose today in whatever situation you have, you do not get it back, right? There's no refunds. You do not pass go. You do not collect $200. Oh, my wife made me play that game the other night. It was painful. Anyway, I'm not a game guy. Anyhow, is this whole idea of coming to the place that we recognize that today, it's the day to make a difference. And what we have to do is realize that it matters. Today matters. And I love even Jesus in Matthew chapter 6 looks at it and says, we need to pay attention to what God is doing right now. Right now. We can't get worked up about what might or might not happen. That's what the scripture says. We need to keep our eyes focused on what's happening now. In other words, today matters. What you do in this moment. If you procrastinate what you need to do today, then you're going to be stuck. You're losing that day. So you don't get to advance into the promise until you've done what you were supposed to do or could have done yesterday or the day before. And let's be really honest, last year or the year before or 10 years ago. And yet we find ourselves circling around the mountain, sad, miserable, disappointed. And every circle we make, every season that goes by and we're still sitting around that mountain, let's be honest, we get more angry. We get more hurt. And then we don't want to deal with it because now it gets embarrassing. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being too transparent and honest with everybody right now. But I just think it's important for us to understand that today matters so much. Today matters. And there's another scripture that almost all of us know completely by heart if you've been in church long, but Jeremiah 29:11. And there's a whole lot more that goes through the chapter. So if you're going to read it, Jeremiah 29:11, read the whole chapter, not just the verse. It gives you much more insight. Where it says, for I know the plans that I have for you, plans to prosper you, plans for peace, not for evil, plans to give you hope. So what I can be sure of, everybody, is that when I'm being intentional about breaking camp, dealing with my stuff, packing it up, getting it ready so that I can move forward, God's reminding us through Jeremiah that he already knows what he's planned for you, and it's good. So, in other words, if he's saying, you've been around this mountain too long, pack it up, let's go. Advance into the promise that I have for you. Why are we so reluctant? You know what I really think? And I don't know if it's a sign of our culture or the time in which we live, or maybe it's been here all the time. And at my age, I just notice it more now. I think that we like to hang on to our hurts. I think we get to a place where we've been around the mountain too long and we know it, that the frustration and the anger, it starts to define us. And remember I said that when you stay at a mountain and you don't deal with the stuff, you don't break camp and you don't deal with it, and it becomes such an internal thing. You know what happens? Remember I said it bleeds out to others? It bleeds out and affects other people. All of a sudden you're angry at people that you shouldn't be angry at, have done nothing to you. All of a sudden you see other people who are advancing and you become their critic instead of the person that lifts them up. So the truth is that we have to remember that God's plans for us are good. And if he says, look, I have a promise for you, why are we staying stuck when we don't have to? Why are we staying at this mountain of our issues, this mountain of all that stuff, when God says, look, start today. I'm telling you right now, I want you to move forward. I want you to advance. And that's what I'm telling you tonight. I don't know what's going on in your life exactly. There's a lot of you that watch this. I couldn't say what everybody is dealing with, but what I do know is this, that all of us have struggles. And perhaps your deal is something at work and you're really fighting a battle. Maybe it's in your family. Maybe it's in you. Maybe you're fighting an addiction. Maybe you're fighting some health issues that are going on and it's like, man, I don't know what to do. Start getting ready. Can I tell you, if you're ill, if you're sick, start getting ready to be well. I'm just telling you, there are times where we have to make a decision and say, okay, here we go. It's my time. I'm going to start seeing myself as better. If you're in a bad place at work, you've got to start today to begin to redefine what your world looks like. Because here's what I've learned in my life. And I know I'm going, oh, it's already 7. Okay, I've got to hurry up. Is this. What I've discovered is you'll find what you expect to find. If you expect to be sick, you'll be sick. If you expect to be alone, you'll be alone. If your expectation is God is not going to come through for you, then guess what? You're not going to see that breakthrough. Not because God doesn't want to or can't, but because you fail to acknowledge it in your own life and in your own belief system. I think Greg said that right now. Is it, do we really believe God? It really does come down to that. And I just want to tell you that it's important for you to remember this, because it's so important, that there are 2 ways that I've learned to face the future. All right. And I know I make a joke about this all the time, is that, every commercial, every news agency, they'll do their little promo ads and it's this, in these uncertain times. I'm like, they're not uncertain times. I'm pretty sure we're certain that everybody's crazy, especially them. Pretty certain of that. I'm certain that God has a plan, no matter what it looks like. But there are 2 ways we can face that. We can face it with apprehension and anxiety and worry and wonder, oh, how is this? This is too bad. I can't understand what's going on. Or the second way is to face it with anticipation, with expectation. In other words, the first way with apprehension and anxiety is without God. But if we face the future with God, we can face him with high expectation because of what he tells us. His hope is to get his idea, his plan for us is to give us hope in the final outcome, right? That's what the Amplified version, how the Amplified version ends that verse, is to give us that hope that it's going to be okay, that his thoughts to us are good, to give us peace and joy. So I don't know about you, but I'm going to wake up in the morning. Actually, I'm going to go to bed tonight, and I'm not going to delay. There's some things that I need to work on too. And instead of putting it off another day, why don't we start now? We still have quite a few hours left in today. Should we make them mean something? Or do we just waste them away watching some series on some internet TV provider? I think it's time. I think it's time to pack up. I think it's time to break camp. So let me say this. Remember that today's the only today you're going to have. We don't get it back. Make it count. So my wife is always saying, make it count. And there's an old, I'm trying to remember the quote. I'll probably get it wrong. But there's an old quote. It may not be hers or not, but it's attributed to Mother Teresa very often. But she says, yesterday Oh, come on, Clay. You can remember this. Yesterday is gone. Tomorrow has not yet come. We have only today. Let us begin. We have only today. Let's begin. I just love the idea of that. So, whatever's going on with you, start. Start believing. Start doing. And stop waiting. Make a difference. If you need forgiveness, ask for it. If you need to give forgiveness, give it. Let the healing start here. Because that's the only way that you're going to be able to break camp and advance into the promise. You've got to deal with those things first. Anyway, I will say this. One of the things is this, one of the most beautiful things, and I say something similar to this often when I'm closing Refuel, is, you know what? There's one beautiful thing about today, and it's this, that tomorrow we get to start over. I love that. I love that if I've made an idiot of myself today, I get tomorrow to begin again. It's a new day. I don't get today back. I can't do anything about that. But I can stop wasting what I have. And I can look at my tomorrow and say, it's going to be a better day. It's going to be a better day. It's been a rough ride, but it's going to be better. Tomorrow will be better. I like that. And I hope out of all of my rambling that maybe there was something in there that you just thought, wow, you know what? I needed that, because I know I did. And tonight, I just want to say thank you for hanging out. Hey, can I tell you this really quickly too? Because I was going to do this at the beginning, but I want to make sure there are more people on here. Our missions team just left this morning. I don't think they'll have boots on the ground until tomorrow evening, but they'll have boots on the ground in Uganda, Africa, tomorrow evening. And we want to be really praying for them, pray safety over our team, and pray that God really uses them in a big way, and that God brings them home safely. We know travel is complicated right now, but we know God's got a plan and God's got it. So what we covet for you is your prayers for them. All right. So for the Three Oaks Missions team, John and his team, just be praying for them, lift them up all through the week. They'll be there for 15 days. So be praying for them. That's really important. Anyway, guys, thanks, Ray. I ramble a lot. My wife, y'all need to see this comment. This is definitely somebody that's known me my entire life. Sometimes we need a little rambling. You know what? You're not wrong. Anyway, guys, I love you so much. Travis, break down the camp. Well, that's what I'm trying. And Travis, I got leaves all over my yard again. I don't know what happened, but anyway, guys, I love you so very much. And thank you for hanging out with me this time. And you are amazing. And I just want to remind you, first of all, if you're in the North Nashville area, Tennessee, Middle Tennessee, if you're in this area and you don't have a home church, you want to hang out with people that are just real and a spirit-filled place where we're just seeking the face of God. We just want to be better. You can come hang out with us, and what you see here is what you're going to get there. So, but I would love to see you and come hang out with us. So Sundays at 10, we only have one service right now, and you can enjoy that. We also do Wednesday night youth, Wednesday night kids, Wednesday night adult Bible study. We do a men's group on Tuesdays. We do Bible school on Mondays. We got women's groups happening all through the week. It's a lot of stuff going on. So there's a place for you to plug in. But I just want to tell you, we love you very, very much. And the last thing I'll say is this: go make tomorrow the best day you've ever had. And remember, today matters, so you need to start now. Love you guys. Have an amazing evening. You are absolutely amazing.